Good morning, guys. Today's tech tips. We've had a lot of requests on Facebook of what we do to plan or do maintenance before we actually leave for our next trip. And since we actually sit in an area typically anywhere from 3 to 6 months working in that area or traveling, whatever, we actually have a pretty good program that I go through everything. And you'll see in front of me, I've just got the different lubricants that we use. Biggest thing, it doesn't make a difference what brand. I'm not going to endorse any brands or anything like that as far as that goes, but when you have like the dry lubricant, we use that on the hydraulics on the doors. We use this on the slides sometimes. It's nice to have it on ours depending on what slides you have. If you have the roller slider, you actually have the Teflon slide. This works really well on that. Keeps it doesn't get the nasty sticky junk everywhere. That's the reason why we use dry lubricant on that. We'll also use it on locks, stuff like that can start getting corroded over time. The electrical cleaner, that one is used for our plug from our truck to the camper itself. We'll use this and I'll clean it up, and then we actually come back and put on some dielectric grease or silicone grease that's actually for electrical components, and it keeps everything nice and lubed up. Same thing with our plug-ins, so they actually unplug easier. They don't get stuck. They don't have to worry about them getting corroded into each other. That's usually a maintenance that people forget to do. And then we got lithium grease. Lithium grease actually attaches. It's a heavier grease. It attaches better, therefore actually has a better length of staying on parts. We'll use this on our leaf springs, our joints, the shackles. I'll take you through all that stuff here in a minute too. And then we use the slide silicone lube that I use this on our automatic jacks, on the threads. We use this on the slide itself, on the screw style that we have with the gears. And then we also have grease and a grease gun in case we have to grease the bearings on the camper. That is something that does not have to be done all the time, but periodically you want to do that. The other thing too, which we're not going to actually take off the tire today, but your drum brakes, you can use this dry lube on the parts in there too, because you don't want to use regular lubrication on those, because needless to say, when it gets hot, it'll run. You don't want lube on the brake drum and on the shoes itself. So this is always a real good alternative for that, to spray that on your adjusting star and all that in there, which we'll go into that at a later date. But this is just some of the stuff that we actually use before each trip, and it just makes things a lot smoother. Needless to say, preventative maintenance is a lot better than waiting for things to break and then hoping that you have service, or nowadays hoping you've got a shoulder to pull off on, considering that we are a total of about 55 feet long. There's not a whole lot of places you can pull off and take care of this stuff, and needless to say, nobody wants to be doing that stuff on the side of the interstate. But let me walk through and I will show you what everything is used on, and then that way you've got an idea for it. We're actually out here in a campground in Holland, Michigan today, which we'll be doing the video on the Holland upcoming on our Sunday videos. But going through that, it's a cute little town, got a lot of neat stuff here. So anyway, let's go through this real quick, and we'll make it a short video and give you your Wednesday stuff. Okay guys, so we're actually at the tires now. What I'm going to do is I brought out, I'll go through this part first. You can actually pop the cap off of majority of these campers, and underneath of there is a rubber grommet that covers the grease zerk that's actually in here, and you push this in and you can actually snap that onto that. And usually it only takes a few pumps, maybe 5 pumps or whatever. You don't want to over grease it and have that stuff squishing out of the seals and everything else. But like I said, every once in a while it's not a bad idea. And then you just put that back in and you move on to your next steps. But I go through, it's been a while since we'd actually done ours, so instead of repacking, I just went through and put a couple squirts in each one of them, and that usually takes care of you for a while. But it is always a good idea to pull out, clean the bearings, make sure everything's good. But like I said, we'll do that at a later date. But and then on your lithium, inside of here, let me get this around here where you can see what I'm talking about with the shackles. It is in here. This is your leaf shackles and your pivot points. So this is where we take this and we just put a little squirt on each one of these, on insides and outside, and it just it gets in there and allows it to move a lot freer. Same thing with this top one, but every point that it moves, we actually hit it with the little bit of lithium, and as you can tell, it's white and sticks pretty good. It's actually got thicker consistency to it. So, but and then your dry lube, like I said, we use this mainly for the we use this mainly for our slides on our doors, the hinges on the doors, the locks, because it just doesn't get all over the place. It's a lot nicer to use it there, and we don't have to worry about anything. Same thing with your awning. It's your pivot points on the awnings. It's always nice to keep that stuff lubed up, because needless to say, you have a lot of strain on those little motors and on those pin points. We've actually busted those before. So anyway, so that's one of the main reasons why we have the dry lube, and we'll go around and I'll show you how we use it on the slides. Okay, as you can see in here, we've got these rails here that ride in through the frame, and they've actually got gears underneath of it that keep everything squared up. So we want to make sure that we keep all that lubed. This back in here lubed. We use the slide lube for that stuff. We use the dry lube for up above. There's a plastic Teflon, I don't know if it's actually Teflon, there's a plastic runner that this actually slides on. So we like to make sure that that it actually stays lubed up to where it slides a lot easier. It's a lot less work on the motor to be able to pull the slides in. This one's the small one on the back of ours on our bunkhouse, and then we've actually got another slide that is a big slide that is our living room, actually completely goes out. So we want to make sure that all that stuff stays free. The dry lube, like I said, we use on the plastic, and the rest of it we use the RV slide lubes by 3-in-1 is what we use. You don't have to use that, but we just had the best luck with it. But moving on, we'll go to the front of the camper. While I'm here, the automatic jacks down below, we use this on the threads. We'll use the 3-in-1 on the threads for the jacks too. They have a tendency to get dried up and get rusty, so we use those also. That's another position we use those in. So let's move up to the front of the camper and we'll wrap up some stuff up there, and hopefully this is helping you guys out. If you like it, please subscribe. If you have any comments or recommendations, give us a shout in the comments, and let's move to the front and go from there. Okay guys, now that we're at the front of the camper, the plug that we use, like I said, we actually use the electrical cleaner for that. It keeps the connections good and clean, keeps the corrosion off of it, so on and so forth. And then we go back and we use the dielectric grease or the silicone grease for electrical components. You can't use just regular grease on it. The other thing that we do is the grease on the ball. Always keep that lubed. Always keep your equalizer bars lubed, and then also keep this the locking mechanism lubed up down in here. We use the spray, the lithium grease on it, and we've had real good luck with that. Keeps everything nice. And we've been in some salted rains like down in the Gulf. That's where you get a lot of corrosion at too. We get a lot of rust up in northern United States, but down there we get a lot of salt and corrosion that way. So something else you can do that I didn't mention is pop the top of this off. Here and you can grease down into here, because this is a gearbox up in here for lowering it up and down. If you've got electric jack, it's the same thing. You always want to keep that lubed. Like I said, guys, anytime that you can keep this lubed, it's a lot less stress and wear and tear on the motors, a lot less stress and wear and tear on you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today. I hope this brings a lot of I don't know, clarity to it, to what we do and how we do things. But if you have any questions, guys, give us a holler. I'm more than happy to help out and be able to do what I know how to do anyway. And if you got suggestions, please leave those in there too. But please subscribe, hit that bell, and let us know what we can do for you guys. Appreciate it. You guys have a great week.